Picture this. You're deep in enemy territory. The dust hasn't even settled from your drop pod, and a bug the size of your screen suddenly appears. The Hive Lord. Community tests say it packs around 150,000 health, enough to treat several entire hell bombs like they're firecrackers. And while you're staring at that monster, something worse happens. Bugs start turning faster, spawning more, locking onto your squad's host with relentless aggression. Then the ground starts moving. Burrowers erupt from underground. And just when you think you figured it out, you realize you can't call anything in those caves ahead of you. But the craziest part? These bugs aren't just tough enemies. They're changing the way the whole game is played. From claustrophobic cave fights to a game client that crashes more than your escape pod, here's what you need to know about Helldivers 2's newest enemies. The Hive Lord, you don't just fight it, you witness it. Imagine dropping into a mission expecting the usual swarm, only for the ground to quake and a monster the size of a super destroyer to stretch across your screen. This isn't some mini-boss, it's the bug equivalent of a final exam. Community tests peg its health at around 150,000 health. To put that in perspective, a Hell Bomb, the strongest anti-armor tool in the game, does around 10,000 damage. That means you'd need to drop more than a dozen Hell Bombs in perfect conditions just to match its health pool. And good luck doing that when the arena is crawling with smaller bugs trying to chew you apart. Players have been experimenting. Railgun volleys? They tickle. Full squad loadouts with rocket launchers and autocannons? The Hive Lord stomps or sprays you down. Some Redditors joke that the best way to kill it is to just close the game. Even guides from big outlets don't sugarcoat it. Most recommend avoiding the Hive Lord entirely. They describe it more like an environmental hazard than an enemy. Something you survive, not to defeat, at least as of yet. That makes it a unique encounter in Helldivers 2. Almost everything else in the game, no matter how tough, has a strategy to bring it down. And here's the kicker. Players have managed to kill it, but usually only after absurd coordination. Entire squads spamming precision strikes, exploiting every possible weakness, and still spending half the mission just whittling it down. By the time the beast finally drops, you're out of supplies, out of ammo, and usually out of squad mates. The victory might be very democratic, but it shows no reward for such success. Other than that, it feels more like survival than conquest with our current equipment. So the Hive Lord isn't just another big bug. It's a statement piece from Arrowhead. It sets the tone for this new wave of enemies. These aren't balanced encounters designed for you to win every time. They're reminders that Helldivers is about fighting against the impossible. But if the Hive Lord feels unfair, wait until you see what happens when the game itself seems to stack the odds against one unlucky player in every mission. Divers, if you've hosted a game recently, you might have noticed it. The bugs just love you. Reports across Reddit and Steam all point to the same thing. The host becomes a lightning rod of danger. Bugs swarm harder, attack faster, and turn sharper. Even spawns seem thicker around them. Some players think it's because the AI runs on the host machine, it's pulling enemies toward whoever's carrying that load. Others just call it bad luck, but when wave after wave dives on the host, while teammates near him are not being targeted, it stops feeling like a coincidence. So, do you hand the hosting reins to your most durable squad mate, or gamble that the host curse won't hit you this mission? Either way, once the ground itself starts moving, the decision might not even matter. Speaking of which, there's no horror like hearing dirt shift under your boots and realizing the enemy isn't above ground anymore. Burrowers tunnel fast, close distance faster, and pop up right beneath you. But here's the catch. Explosives break the cycle. A grenade pistol shot, a well-timed bomb, even a heavy launcher aimed at the dirt trail can force burrowers of all sizes, except for the Hive Lord, to surface or outright delete them mid-dig. Entire Reddit threads are basically just players chanting, "See dirt moving? Blow it up." This turns explosives from optional tools into essential survival gear. No grenades, no safety. But while bombs are reliable, the community's been testing more exotic solutions too. The flamethrower and fire-loving divers swear the buffs made their weapon god tier. Gas and gas grenade users also pointed out how entire patrols melt in clouds of toxic smoke. But here's the debate. Does it work on burrowers while they're underground? Most confirmed clips show fire and gas dominating surfaced enemies. You light up a choke point, they stumble out coughing and burning, and it's over. Underground though, the evidence is spotty. Some claim a flame patch stops a burrower before it reaches them. Others say they can't say if it works or not. That being said, please let us know down below if you found the answer. Need to know the safest bet? Use explosives to drag bugs topside. Then let democracy finish the cleanup. Speaking of that cleanup, now it's gonna feel very different, especially when the fight isn't in open fields, but in cramped tunnels where you can barely swing your gun. The Into the Unjust update didn't just add new bugs. It forced players into underground maps where the walls feel like they're closing in. Stratagems are restricted, flanking is harder, and burrowers are scarier than ever. You hear them dig, but in a cave, it's dark, and there's nowhere to run. However, in these tunnels, flamethrowers and gas suddenly shine brighter. Fire blocks choke points. Gas denies entire passages, and your squad's loadout matters more than ever. Because one bad roll and you're cornered by swarms in a space no bigger than the Pelican Passenger's Bay. The claustrophobia isn't just design flavor, it's a gameplay shift. And as if the bugs weren't already enough, Helldivers players are finding a new enemy that's even harder to fight: the game itself. Helldivers 2 is getting bigger, literally. Each patch balloons the file size, pushing your drive to its limit. And worse, the game's stability is slipping. Crashes are being reported more frequently after updates, especially on PC, with some players losing progress mid-mission. It's not just performance either. Memory use is climbing, with the game eating more resources than some rigs can handle. For a title all about precise teamwork and high-stakes survival, nothing's more frustrating than losing a mission to a freeze or frame drop instead of a bug. Notably, these features seem to be the culprit: orbital Gatling barrage, orbital gas strike, gas grenades, orbital napalm barrage, and eagle cluster bombs. They are repeatedly reported as the frame-dropping, game-freezing, democracy-bringing items that users amongst the community use to dispatch said freedom. Arrowheads patching, sure, but with every fix and update, the memory footprint seems to grow. It leaves players asking, are we fighting the bugs, or are we fighting the client? Helldivers has never been about fair fights. The Hive Lord proves it by being way stronger than a bot bunker. And now that hosting paints a target on your back, burrowers turn the dirt itself into a weapon. Fire and gas tease promise but need setup. Caves change the entire meta. And crashes? They remind you that sometimes the fight's against the game itself. But that's the spirit of Helldivers 2. Overwhelming odds, impossible challenges, and the push to adapt anyway. These new bugs are brutal, yes, but they're also the reason the galaxy keeps feeling alive. Because if it were easy, it wouldn't be Helldivers.